Welcome back to the Drum Hang. I'm Chris Smith. Today's record of the day, Pat Metheny's Rejoicing, featuring Charlie Haden and, you guessed it, Billy Higgins on drums. Now, not every great Billy Higgins recording is from 1960 or 1970. Billy Higgins continued making amazing recordings all the way through the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. This is one of my favorites, especially on vinyl. This thing sounds so good on my stereo, I feel like Billy Higgins is sitting in my living room with me. Of course, it's tasty drumming, but it's a really interesting record for me in that it sort of is full circle. A lot of this stuff, especially on the second side, is free, and Billy Higgins is playing a lot more free form, free textures, a la Ornette Coleman, than the last record of the day, which is Cedar Walton Trio, which is very straight ahead and swinging and great. This is swinging and great also at times, but also really free at times. So it's a great vehicle for Billy Higgins. I couldn't recommend this album more. So without further ado, let's go into part 2 of Billy Higgins Solo Vocabulary. So we're going to get through 5 categories today. We're going to talk about buzz rolls, straight eights, ruffs, double strokes, and crossovers. Okay? 5 categories, so let's get right into it. The very first one, buzz rolls. Billy Higgins played buzz rolls all the time. A couple phrases are super famous, like this one. That buzz roll fill is used by so many people these days because it's so good. Billy Higgins used it a lot. I would also point out that he used buzz rolls also for texture. When he would play an open drum solo, he would play a roll in varying degrees of intensity and volume to create a vibe or to create a mood or create energy, right? So we think Art Blakey press roll. Billy Higgins used a press roll and a buzz roll very effectively, almost as much as Blakey. So think about that and really listen for those little buzz rolls when you're checking out the rest of the Billy Higgins Solo Vocabulary today. All right? So the next category is straight eights. Another thing that you may have heard Billy Higgins play a lot but not realized it is during all this swinging and all these great phrases, he'll go da ga 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 da 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 da. Straight eighth notes. Here's some examples. Check it out. So we're going to build onto this solo. We're going to start actually at the beginning, where we're going to see Billy Higgins using stickings from the very first category, from the last episode, moving melodies. Okay? So he's playing that Afro-Cuban beat where it's right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left. He also then starts playing other stickings where he's moving around the melody. So now we're going to add in our 6-stroke roll, category 2. Take it away, Mr. Higgins. Buzz roll. So now Let's take right, right, left sticking, play it a couple times, turn it into a 6-stroke roll, and then play some straight eighth notes for good measure. Sounds like a good idea. Billy Higgins. Now Billy Higgins adds some really great alternating sticking into the mix, coming off the cymbals and going to the snare drum. A really cool phrase. Check this out. So this brings us to the last section of this solo and a new category. This category is ruffs. A lot of drummers play ruffs. Ruffs are an important rudiment. Billy Higgins used ruffs a lot. A lot of times if I play a transcription of Billy Higgins and it doesn't sound like Billy Higgins, it just sounds like me sucking trying to sound like Billy Higgins, it's because my ruffs are either too loud, too soft, not spaced right, or not, they're actually getting in the way of the flow of the bigger rhythm, okay? But Billy Higgins used ruffs all the time. It's a very, very distinct sound and a very important part of his solo vocabulary. So here's the whole solo. You're checking out all the stuff we've learned about, that we're watching and hearing Billy Higgins play, and you're also focusing on his use of ruffs and how important it is. So here's the whole solo. Check it out. Billy Higgins. So that takes care of the first 3 categories today. Buzz rolls, buzz fills, straight eighth notes, and ruffs. 3 important ones. Now the last 2 are 2 of my favorites that I don't really feel are talked about enough. But as you watch more solo video, listen to more solo recordings of Billy Higgins, these last 2 are pretty important, pretty unique, and he uses them a ton. They are double strokes and crossovers. 2 of my favorites and very useful. So let's get into it. First, double strokes. The first example of Billy Higgins is from a great audio recording, Billy Higgins Quintet. They're playing the song Hot House. You can hear him very clearly while he's trading. The tempo is not super fast, but it's fast. You can hear him in this trading section playing doubles up the toms. His left hand is on the snare drum stationary. His right hand is the moving melody with doubles. It's really fun to play. It's very efficient. It's easy to play. It sounds harder than it is. Billy Higgins utilizes it a lot. Right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. Check this out. Another way that Billy Higgins uses doubles a lot is actually different and very cool. He uses it by coming off of the cymbal and onto the snare drum. So the double is right hand, cymbal, snare, left hand, cymbal, snare. It gets it going like a machine gun. He does it a lot. It's a really cool effect, and it's quite fun to practice, and it teaches you how to play in a fluid motion, because it's like two sounds in one. It's a double stroke, right? But coming off that cymbal, you have to play light, you have to keep this fluid motion going. So see if you can do it, practice it, but check out Billy Higgins doing it first, because he's a master. Check this out. Machine Gun Higgins. Now, of course, Billy Higgins is musical and tasteful and swinging, but every great jazz drummer is also a little bit of a showman, all right? The crowd enjoys watching you, you enjoy performing for the crowd, and, you know, it's a show. People are paying good money to hear you and see you. So, Billy Higgins has these great crossover licks that he uses a lot that are really useful. I use them a ton, actually, myself, and, you know, you don't need to be a technical wizard to be able to do it. You just need to practice it and get fluid with it, and then the crowd loves you and you played something that excites people, and that is a fun thing to do, right? So here's some crossovers. First, let's watch some cymbal crossovers. So Billy Higgins has different ways of playing crossovers on the cymbals. Here's a short brush clip followed by another clip where he's playing double strokes now, and he's crossing over on the cymbals. This is transcribed on my website also, where you can see it clearly how he's doing it. It's pretty slick, it's pretty easy to copy. I'll show you also a version of me doing it slow to fast, and that might help you a little bit also. So here's Billy Higgins playing some great cymbal crossovers, followed by my example, slow to fast for you. Billy Higgins cymbal crossover using doubles. The final crossover example is Billy Higgins on the drums. Now I'll play that clip again, but you should notice he's crossing over his right over his left, but sometimes he's also crossing his left over his right, which for a right-handed drummer is way harder. It's kind of like, we can do this all day, but to do this, you're starting to get into some danger zone, right? But Higgins, he could do it either way. Sometimes he would play certain patterns. Sometimes he was just playing free, kind of like adding in some doubles, just kind of playing seemingly whatever, with no clear pattern to it. But either way, he had great fluidity with it. He was melodic with it. It was a really cool thing to do. So I'll show you this clip of Billy Higgins playing crossovers again. And then I'm going to take a little video of this crossover pattern that I learned that's based on Higgins, but then also I added a little bit to it that I really enjoy playing, that when I have to pull something out of the hat to excite the audience or to play something exciting or to get some intensity happening, you know, I'm not a technical genius, so I pull out crossovers too. So I'll play for you my example of this Tom crossover that I play a lot, slow to fast, of course inspired by Billy Higgins. So here's some final crossover stuff for you. Check it out. Tom crossover. I've come up with my own crossover, which is this. All singles. Wow, so now we've gone through 2 episodes of Billy Higgins Solo Vocabulary. I hope you've gained a lot from it. Of course, I'm a big fan of doing large transcriptions and then trying to play the whole transcription, but what I found more useful is really listening to drummers. Listening to as many recordings as you can and try to, with your ears, come up with different categories. They're like, oh, I hear him play that idea. I don't know what the sticking is, but I hear whatever that is. I have to figure it out because I hear so-and-so play it a lot. That's what I've done here with Billy Higgins. I've listened to a lot of Billy Higgins, and through those years, I've come up with categories of things that I like, that he plays, that he uses a lot. I practice them so that I can use that vocabulary in my own flow. I'm never going to go to a gig and play an 8-bar Billy Higgins transcription. Like, if I ever do that, I should quit playing the drums right then and there. That sucks, right? But what I hope is these little bits of Higgins come out in my playing so that somebody's like, oh, that was a Higgins phrase. Or I don't know that phrase was a Billy Higgins phrase, but I know that sounded like a jazz drummer, right? So thank you for checking out the Solo Vocabulary. If you haven't, checked out my episode on Billy Higgins comping. And there's going to be one more Billy Higgins episode coming soon, which is exciting for me because it's Higgins showing us the whole key, the whole secret to being a great jazz drummer. I can't share it now, but I'll share it soon. Thanks for checking out the Drum Hang. The transcriptions of everything that I talked about for the most part is on my website, chrissmithjazzdrums.com. So that'll help you look at transcriptions as you hear Higgins or me playing it. So thanks for checking out the Drum Hang. Spread the word. The Drum Hang is here. So please help me get this out to as many people as possible. I enjoy making them, and I'm glad you checked it out. See you soon. Let's end with a little Higgins swinging.